I ain't been doing nothing but drinking and thinking, oh, since you've been away.
DJ Payne 1.
Oh, come on.
I don't think that I'm coming back. Boy, I told you I'm done with that. You think you can do me so wrong. I'm not the one, no, I'm not the
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the CEO Sports Show for September 23rd, 2025. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about the Monday night game from last night, the Ravens versus the Lions. But before we get into the episode, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe right now. That is hitting the like button and subscribing is our way of knowing that you guys are enjoying the content and just showing appreciation towards what we're doing right now over here at Kretschman Media. It's been a good nearly 2 months since we started getting going here. Just tremendous support from you guys, and I greatly appreciate it. Make sure to go check out the other shows on the Kretschman Media Network as well. They should be on the homepage of my page here. So, we had a game that we need to get into from last night, the Lions and the Ravens. Pretty good game last night. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. To me, where the Lions won this game was that they were just so physical on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Both sides of the line of scrimmage, they really dominated the Ravens. I mean, you talk about 38 carries, 224 yards, 5.9 yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns on the ground. That's incredible for the Detroit Lions. And if that's how they're going to win football games this year, they're going to be a really hard team to beat, because I think that offensive line looks better now than it did last year. And they had a really good offensive line last year. So what does that say about the Lions? We're going to get into the Lions and just the outlook of them going further into the season after we recap the game. But I would just say, like, what does that say about the Lions going forward? That they were able to be as physical at the point of attack on both sides of the ball as they were in this game. And that's my main takeaway from this. Obviously, you had Derrick Henry with the unfortunate fumble. I mean, you can't have that, right? Like, Derrick Henry had a fumble. Yeah, lost a fumble. I was just making sure that I had that correct. Yeah, you can't have that. Flat out can't have that. And the thing is, coming out of this game, I don't blame Lamar for this game. I mean, 21 for 27, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I apologize for that. 288 yards, 10.7 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 7 sacks taken. That isn't good. QBR of 68.9 and a passer rating of 148.1. I thought Lamar Jackson, just like he's been all season, has been very efficient. You know, like, look, Derrick Henry, he was brought in here to be one of the best running backs in football. And so far, throughout these 2 games that they lost, I think he made a play in these games that took away a potential win for them. Now, I will say this, like, when you're giving up 38 points and you're giving up 40 points, you know, yeah, that's not an offensive issue. So while, yes, the fumbles are annoying from Derrick Henry, if you're a Ravens fan, the issue with that team is not Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and the offense. The issue with this football team is that their defense is just not good. It's very disappointing. And I thought that this was going to be one of the better defenses in the league. I think a lot of people thought this was going to be one of the better defenses in the league. So if they're going to struggle defensively, they're going to have a tough time winning as many games as they should. Because offensively, this is one of the best offenses in football. They're one of the most well put together offenses in football. They have pretty good receivers, not great, but pretty good. Their tight ends are really good. Their offensive line is fine. They have, Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in the game. They should be better than this. Well, actually, I'm sorry. The offense shouldn't be better. The team overall should be better than this because of the defense and how poorly the defense has been playing. But I thought Jared Goff, going to the Lions side of this, I thought he played very well. I thought he was very efficient. Got the ball out on time. Was layering the ball on all three levels of the field, mainly in the short to intermediate game. But I do think that Jared Goff, just as cool as they come, calm under pressure. Actually, I shouldn't say that, because when he gets pressured, if you get him off his spot, that is a recipe for disaster when it comes to Jared Goff. But just a very steady game from Jared Goff. And if this is the way they're going to play football, they're going to win a lot of games. And I was very impressed with the defense from the Detroit Lions. I mean, Al-Qadir Muhammad, former Dallas Cowboy for like a month, 2.5 sacks. Aiden Hutchinson, he had a sack, but his presence was felt. He looked like an absolute game wrecker this game. I mean, they did everything they possibly could to make sure that, he was having as hard of a time as he could with getting to the quarterback. I mean, that's just what happened. And man, it's been impressive what the Lions have done these past 2 weeks. It was a rough first game from the Lions against the Green Bay Packers, where they went into Green Bay. They weren't prepared. And honestly, ever since that game, I mean, their offense has been explosive. I get it. They played the Bears last week, and they played, even though the Ravens are really good, they played the Ravens this week, which I think was actually a way more impressive game. But I mean, now when you look at the Lions, I mean, I think they're better on all three levels when it comes to their defense. And we'll talk about the Lions here to put a bow on the game. Lions win this game, and the main reason why they won is because defensively they were I thought they made stops when they needed to make stops. Offensively, they were moving the ball efficiently, and not only that, they were winning at the point of attack. So that's the story of the game. So salute to the Lions. They're in a really good spot here on the NFC side of things, and that's where we're going to go with this. Is it crazy to say that the Lions are the best team in the NFC? Because I don't think it's crazy to say that. Not after what we saw last night with their performance against the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, look, they let up 30 points defensively. Got it. Name me how many more offenses they're going to play that are better than the Baltimore Ravens. There's not going to be many, if any. And when you look at this Lions team, I think it's fair to say that the Lions are the best team in the NFC at the current moment. And I get it. They're 2-1. They don't have the best record in the conference. It's week 3. I'm not worried about records at this point in the season, right? Because I'm looking for things that are going to have staying power. And when I look at the Lions and how they're able to win on both sides of the line of scrimmage, being physical at the point of attack on both sides of the line of scrimmage, I look at that and I say that's going to translate later in the season. Not only that, they have a quarterback that they're not putting too much on his plate, and that's perfectly fine. That's where you want Jared Goff at. If Jared Goff can play like this, where you're just asking him to be efficient, get rid of the ball on time, get the operate the offense, do all the things that you want Jared Goff to do, well, he can do that. Absolutely. And they're running the ball effectively. They have a really good running back duo. And their defense, I think their defense is better than it was last year by like a mile. I get it. They let up 30 points to the Ravens. They're not going to play any better offense this year than the Ravens, right? Like, I will get their defensive line with Hutchinson, Reeder, Muhammad, Tyreek Williams, Ali McNeil. He should be back this year. Like, it's really impressive. And then you look at their second level with the linebackers that they have. I mean, they have so many good linebackers on this team. The secondary's improved. This team is going to be really, really good. They're going to be a really hard team to stop. I think they're going to win the NFC North. I think they're going to win the NFC this year because I don't think there's any great team in the NFC, but I think you can make a case that, yeah, the Lions are a great team. And as long as they're healthy, I think that you're looking at a team that has a chance to be one of the very best in football. One of the very best in football. And man, if they can get Jared Goff playing like this all year, again, you're not putting too much on his plate. You're asking him to operate the offense. You're asking him to, like I said, you're not asking to do things that Jared Goff can't do. You're asking Jared Goff to do what he can do to the best of his ability. And at that point, I feel great about that. If you're a Lions fan, like, here's the thing. I made a video where I said the Lions aren't going to win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff. I think I'm starting to rethink that. And here's the reason why. This team, I'm impressed with what they have defensively. I don't think that they've reached their peak defensively yet. Like, Aiden Hutchinson's starting to look like Aiden Hutchinson again. He looked, I can't get over how good he looked last night against the Baltimore Ravens. But again, like, the pieces that they have defensively outside of Aiden Hutchinson is what really sells me on this defense. And I think that in an NFC where there's not that many great teams, I don't think there's a single great team in the NFC. Defensively, they're going to be able to hold up. Will they be able to hold up against Philly's offense? Yeah. Will they be able to hold up against LA's? Yeah. Will they be able to hold up against Green Bay's? I know they didn't week one, but I look at that and I say, yeah, I think they're going to be able to. They're starting to find their groove. They have a new defensive coordinator. They have a new offensive coordinator. And this was the game where I was like, man, it looks like they didn't skip a beat from Ben Johnson last year and Aaron Glenn last year. I'm sorry. That was terrible by me. But, man, in an NFC where it's just not a lot. I mean, John Morton as the offensive coordinator, what he did yesterday was impressive. I think it was that fourth down call where they lined up Amon-Ra St. Brown at fullback, handed him the ball, then pitched it to Jahmyr Gibbs, I believe it was. I mean, that's as creative as it gets. And Jared Goff looks like the same Jared Goff that he was last year, which is impressive to me. I think I'm starting to really, really respect Jared Goff and his game and what he provides to that Lions offense. And it sucks that he had the playoff game that he had last year. But, I mean, with this defense, here's the thing. When you can keep Jared Goff in the structure of an offense, he will move the ball. He will be efficient. And I don't care if it's regular season or postseason. He will do those things for you. And I feel like a lot of it last year was the defense just wasn't that good. And I don't think that's the case this year. Like, I can't get over how good this defense looks. Like, I think this defense has the potential to be one of the best in the game. They improved at every level of the defense. Like, I sound like I'm at loss for words how good this defense looks. And I get it. Like, they let up 30 points to the Ravens. If you can let up only 30 points to the Ravens, you're all right. You're going to be good. A lot of teams are going to give up 30 plus to the Ravens. If I'm not mistaken, I think so far this season, I mean, look, the Browns are one of the best defenses in the league, right? The Browns just held Green Bay to 10 points, and the Ravens put up 41 on them, put up 40 points the week before, and they put up 30 this week. By far the best performance that you saw from a defense in the season so far against the Ravens. Let me repeat that, okay? To get the point across. The Ravens so far this year scored 40 against Buffalo. They scored 41 against the Browns, who just held the Green Bay Packers to 10 points. They scored 30 against the Detroit Lions. The reason why they scored 30, the Ravens, is because they're a great offense. But you're still, if you're a Lions fan, you have to feel great about this defense, because when I look at the Lions schedule, I don't think they're going to be playing anybody as good as this offense. Next week, they have the Browns, Bengals, Chiefs, Buccaneers. Like, I don't see, maybe Dallas, if they get, if they have Lamb and Pickens, that might be something. Rams with Nakua and Adams. But I still don't think either of those offenses are as good as the Ravens. And I look at this and I say that what we saw week 1 from the Lions, I think that was more of an aberration. I think that, once the season starts to go on here, they'll start to pick it up. And I think they're going to really play at a high level. And I mean, I just don't see many losses on this schedule if you're the Lions. I think they beat Philly in November. I think they beat the Packers. I think they beat the Rams. Like, those are just the really good teams that they play. Now I think they're going to beat. I think they beat the Buccaneers. Like, this team is legit. They're very legit. And when you look around the NFC, are they better than Philly? I think they're better than Philly. Are they better than LA? I think they're better than LA. Are they better than Tampa Bay? Yeah, they're better than Tampa Bay. Like, I don't think there's any way anybody can convince me that the Detroit Lions are not better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I get it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are off to a good start. But I'm sorry, I just don't see it. I don't see them being better than the Detroit Lions. If you're the Lions, you have an efficient quarterback. You have a run game that's very good. You have an offensive line that looks like they can dominate people at the point of attack. You have a defense that looks like they can play at a really high level this year. I mean, tell me where the flaws are with this team. I mean, maybe if you're able to get pressure on Jared Goff and get him off his spot, sure. But I just think that they have so many answers this year. I think this year they have more answers than they had last year, because last year you could not rely on this defense from the Detroit Lions. This year, I think it's a completely different story. Every quarterback is going to have times where they're going to struggle. They're going to have a bad game. It's about, do you have answers as a team when the most important player on your team is struggling? That's what makes a great team. And I think the Lions have answers to if their quarterback is struggling. Again, it's every quarterback in the league. Every quarterback in the league is going to struggle. Do you have the answers? I think the Lions have the answers. And that's why I just came away so impressed with what the Lions did yesterday. I want to move on to the Baltimore Ravens because, man, that is something that we need to look at. Baltimore Ravens, they start their season 1-2. Is it time for the Ravens to move on from John Harbaugh? Obviously, they're not going to do it right now. They're not going to do it right now. But I'm just saying, end of the year, if this team does not reach the potential that they have, how many years are you going to keep running it back with the same administration? Yes, he's been good. He's been really good for the Ravens organization. But if you are consistently banging your head on the door and not getting over the top with a coach or a quarterback, and maybe both, I mean, not in this situation when it comes to Lamar. I'm not moving on from Lamar Jackson. Please do not say that I'm saying that. But I'm just saying, in most instances, if you're having trouble getting over the top with a coach and a quarterback, you have to ask yourself the question, is it the coach or is it the quarterback? Or is it both? I think in the Ravens situation, I think you have to ask yourself, okay, we're not moving on from Lamar Jackson. No way in hell are we doing that. Teams wait like 40, 50 years to be able to have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson. You move on from him, you're not finding another Lamar Jackson for a very long time. It doesn't happen. It's very rare that you're Green Bay and you move on from Brett Favre for Aaron Rodgers. It's very rare that that's the case. So if you're Baltimore, you have to ask yourself, okay, we've seen it from John Harbaugh we've seen it from John Harbaugh with Lamar Jackson. We have enough data to come to a conclusion that he's not getting it done. And yes, does Lamar have some blame in that because of some of the lackluster playoff performances? Sure. But even still, again, it's all about having answers when your quarterback is struggling. It's all about having multiple things that you can do to get your team over the top when your quarterback is struggling. And if you're the Baltimore Ravens, you have to ask yourself, is this the right way to go about it? Is banging our head on the door over and over and over again with the same coach? Is that the right way to go about this? Because I don't think it is. I think they've given this enough time. And I think ultimately the Ravens need to come to a decision at the end of the year where they say, hey, look, because again, you're not getting rid of Lamar Jackson. You waited long enough to get a Lamar Jackson. You're not going to find another Lamar Jackson. It's not happening. You can find another head coach, which is why in most situations, you move on from the head coach before you move on from the quarterback, because it's a lot easier to find a really good head coach than it is a really good quarterback. If teams have a really good quarterback, they're not interested in moving off it. And unless you're picking at the top of the draft or you get lucky and draft somebody at the end of the first or in one of the later rounds that becomes a really good quarterback, then it's hard to find that. So I always lean towards move on from the coach before you move on from the quarterback. It's much easier to find a great coach than it is a great quarterback. There's only like a handful of great quarterbacks in the NFL. And you could say the same about coaches for sure, but there are so many options out there for coaches that if you do a good enough search for coaches, you'll find a great coach. That like quarterbacks are different. It is very hard to find a great quarterback because you need to have things that other people just don't have. Like you need to have the size, the arm strength, the mental processing. Like it's so hard to find that combination. You have to have a combination of a lot of great traits to have a great quarterback. With coaches, for sure, there are a lot of things that you need to have a combination of, but it's not things that are hard to find. Like it's hard to find somebody that's 6'6", that moves like Josh Allen and could throw the ball down the field as accurately as he can. That's hard to find. But a head coach, there's so many coaches in the NFL ranks. There's so many coaches in the college ranks that you can pull from and say, hey, you want to know what? This offensive coordinator from the Lions is going to be a great head coach because we've seen what he's been able to do with his offense, right? But like quarterbacks, like, and also when it comes to coaches as well, there are things that like, let's just say you have like if you're going and you're getting an offensive coordinator, there's proof that, okay, if this offensive coordinator, if he has one of the best offenses in football, we know that if we bring him in and he's consistently had one of the best offenses in football, we're probably going to have, at minimum, one of the best offenses in football if we surround him with the right personnel. And I think that as a quarterback, it's much harder to find, like, okay, they played great in college. Does not mean they're going to play great in the NFL. But if you're an offensive coordinator and you're in the NFL and you have a great offense, it's easy to say that, okay, schematically, we're going to be put in the position to where we have the potential to have a really good offense because we have a head coach that is going to be able to scheme some things up. There's so many options out there at head coach that you can find a good head coach. Quarterback, different story, which is why I think the Ravens need to make the decision to ultimately move on from John Harbaugh, keep Lamar Jackson, go find a new coach, and run this thing back. Not run it back, but run it like that. And the last thing I want to move on to, let me see here. It slipped my mind for a second. I do want to talk about, damn, I completely forgot. Oh yeah. We need to talk about Justin Herbert. Are we finally going to give Justin Herbert his flowers? Like, I get it. You want to bring up, the postseason. He's not good enough in the postseason, man. He's a playoff choker. I don't subscribe to that notion. I get it. He's had some rough playoff performances, but like so did Peyton Manning early in his career. And if you want to say like, oh, are you comparing Justin Herbert to Peyton Manning? Yes, I'm comparing Justin Herbert to Peyton Manning. Absolutely. His talent calls for that. He is an exceptional talent. He has things that you just cannot teach. And he also processes the game at a very high level. When you talk about pure talent, Justin Herbert is a more pure talented quarterback than Peyton Manning was. Like, no doubt about it. So when I look at Justin Herbert and what the Chargers have been as an organization, understand this. There's a reason why they've never won a Super Bowl. There's a reason why that organization has never won a Super Bowl. They've had really good quarterbacks in the past, and they haven't gotten it done. And so far in Justin Herbert's career, he's a great quarterback that has yet to get it done. I mean, if you want to say that he's the fifth best quarterback in the league, if you even want to say he's in that top four and you want to put him over Burrow, I mean, I'm even cool with that. I mean, so far this year, 860 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. And not only that, he's carrying his team to victories. The Chargers have a really good football team. I wouldn't say carrying. Maybe that's a little too far. But is this guy playing at an extremely high level? Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And right now, they have a chance to win the AFC West. I mean, you're talking about them having they're 3-0 in their division right now. I mean, they're halfway towards a clean sweep. And is anybody going to put it past them to potentially sweep the division? Like, if you look at what the Kansas City Chiefs are right now, do you think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to beat the Los Angeles Chargers? I don't think so. So when I look at Justin Herbert, he's absolutely solidifying himself as one of the very best quarterbacks in the game. And I think that they're like, when you talk about the quarterbacks, I think that there's 2 tiers in the top 7 of the NFL. There's the tier of Allen, Mahomes, all those, everybody knows it, the top 4. And then you have the next 3, and I think that's Stafford, Prescott, Herbert. Not in that order, just I think those are I don't even love ranking quarterbacks because it's like, oh, this quarterback is slightly better than this quarterback. Like, no, there's not that big of a difference between these guys, right? Like, if one quarterback is on one team and another quarterback is on another team, the difference between Prescott and Herbert is if Prescott has a more talented team, they're going to win that game. And honestly, we've seen it in the past because Cowboys have kind of own the Chargers, but that's besides the point. Like, when you have one of those type of quarterbacks, when you have one of those tier 2 quarterbacks, you can beat a team with a tier 1 quarterback if your team is more talented. And I think the Chargers are starting to get to a point where their talent is starting to catch up with some of the teams that have some of the top quarterbacks in the league, because the Chargers just have not been that talented of a football team. You bring in Jim Harbaugh, you bring in a new identity, you revamp the offensive line, you place more of an emphasis on the line of scrimmages, and then you allow Justin Herbert to be a piece of the team instead of being the whole thing, right? A very valuable piece, a piece that if you allow him to play in a complementary manner, he's going to win you a lot of football games. Because of how talented he is, because of how good of a quarterback he is, because of how efficient he is as a quarterback. He's going to put your team in a position to win if your team puts him in a position to win. And that's my ultimate opinion on Justin Herbert. I've never jumped off the Justin Herbert bandwagon. I never have. And I think it's starting to pay dividends because you're starting to see it. This guy is a potential MVP candidate. I mean, you could make a case that this guy can win MVP this upcoming season. Right now, I think you can make a case that he is the MVP in the NFL. And that just shows how impressive of a season he's having so far. That's going to be it for the CEO Sports Show. If you guys haven't already, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. Make sure to go check out the other shows on the Kretschman Media Network. I would greatly appreciate that. But until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace.